Kahit isang saglit o
segundo, saan ba pwedeng magtagpo? Dito na lang muna, hanggang dito na lang muna,
Hi guys, my name's Sabrina. I just came from work. So yes, work from home setting. I'm a singer, songwriter, and spoken word poetry artist. I'm young at heart. So yun ang tanongin yung age ko. And I guess that's basically it for now.
For your music po, can you share with us your music journey po through the process?
Music journey. I started writing back in 5 years ago. Basta mga ganun. 5-6 years ago. Di ko na na-calculate, sorry. But yeah, 5-6 years ago, I started writing my own songs. Actually, the funny story about that is it started with a song that I was supposed to write with, somebody from the past. Ayun. So, paminsan, hindi talaga meant to be ang mga bagay. So, ang nangyari, ang pinaka naging meant to be sa akin ay ang kanta na natapos ko. Which is not what I released, but the first ever song that I wrote, which led me to creating more songs up until now.
Yung first release nyo po is yung Hanggang Dito Na Lang Muna. Can you tell us about the inspiration behind that track? Sobrang ganda po kasi napakinggan ko lang kanina and nice. Very nice.
Inspiration. Iba-iba yung stories eh. Pero siguro the very the one that's very close to the truth is I was at home. I was sitting on our sala, and then I was with a boy whom we shall not be naming. And then we just decided to write a song. But along the way, parang, alam mo yung pag masyado ka na naging in the zone of creating something, I started creating Hanggang Dito Na Lang Muna was the title before. So I started writing it down. And then he was telling me na, oh, this sounds nice, that's okay, that's cool. And then, I think that the song was merely about, back then, it was about that specific moment between us was very nice, and I wanted to stay there, and I didn't know if I could stay there longer or not. So back then it was that, until it became something else. But yeah.
How do you manage to combine a spoken word piece and of course a solo track into one?
The thing with collaborating different art forms, it started when I was in college, and I was helping out in a non-profit organization that was built, to be of service for the arts and for the people who are in the art industry. And sila yung mga nagko-curate ng events na nagmi-mix ng different art forms together. So that was called Para sa Sining, and then they mixed like theater and architecture, they mixed dance and poetry, and it was just really beautiful. Na it gave you an idea that art is filled with endless possibilities, and what more if you combine two of them. And ever since, exposing yourself to that and exploring that area, parang I really enjoyed poetry and music together. And then along the course of my journey, when I was performing in open mics, or I was watching other people perform, poetry and music has this really heart-wrenching effect on people when you listen to it live. And then like I had some friends that they would do music, and then one of their other friends would be doing poetry beside them. And I was like, paano kung isang tao na lang yung gagawa niyan? But hindi mo siya, like, it could be a piece that you wrote down, or it could be a piece that you just felt to say on the spot. And yun, so I started experimenting on that, and I don't know, it just really feels amazing to be able to say something that you haven't said yet, but at the same time share like the message of the music that you've already made. So it's creating with something that you've already created.
Ano yung mga struggles mo pagdating sa pag-record ng track na yun?
Hanggang dito na lang muna was supposed to be out earlier. And, given the pandemic setting, there were a lot of adjustments that were made. And it's really crazy kasi everything happens online. But I did have the privilege to record it in an OC Record studio when the pandemic started easing in. Of course, with social distancing. So parang ako lang yun, tsaka si Martin na nag-aayos nung sa vocals and everything. But then the whole process of like editing, of like running through different versions of it, thinking of like how to make it even better, it all had to happen online. You had to jump on Zoom meetings, and honestly, that was my first time ever to experience creating music, under a record label, and then, going through the whole process. And iba siya. Nakaka-stress. Ganon. Parang yung feeling mo na tama ba ginagawa ko? Hindi ko alam kung tama yung binibigay ko na suggestions. Hindi kasi ako very technical. And parang paano mo masasabi na, paano mo i-explain na pulso mong hindi pa siya okay, pero hindi mo alam kung ano yung gusto mong ayusin. Parang ganon. So, very challenging siya. It definitely tested me in a way on how I viewed the song, on how I wanted it to be produced, or parang kung paano siya lalabas. So, ang daming learnings from that journey of creating your music, recording it, having it turned into something maybe even better. And eventually, it did play out so well na parang sometimes I listen to it and I don't know if it was ever mine. Char.
Yes. Yun, do you feel more creative na during all this time po na meron tayo, or nagkakaroon ka po ng some creative blocks po?
I believe I experienced both sides of the coin for that. I went through this really, I think sa start ng pandemic, one of my coping mechanisms is to make myself really busy para hindi ako mabaon dun sa feeling ng mga bagay na hindi ko kontrolado. So I started on my passion project, which is Shared Spaces. And then I, set myself onto the 3 goals that I wanted to do. Part of it was releasing the song Hanggang Dito Na Lang Muna. And as I mentioned, I also experienced, the other side of the coin, which I think nadaanan ko na. So in the middle of the year, you felt like you are just running on deadlines. You are just living day to day based on your checklist or your to-dos, and wala ka ng oras tumingin sa labas ng bintana. Hindi ako nagtutula, pero kanina ko pa siya iniisip eh. Like, ang ganda ng sunset, yung kulay ng sky today. Tapos parang na-realize ko for like 10 seconds when I was looking at it that I haven't done that in a long while. So yes, I'm at that stage where it feels like, as a human being, you have a lot of things to do, you have work, etc., you have school, ganyan, na parang nawawalan ka ng oras, kahit onte, para sa mga bagay na nagpapabuhay sa'yo.
Inisip ko na super saya mo siguro na nakapag-release ka na ng kanta under OC Records. So, pwede mo bang i-share yun? Kung ano yung na-feel mo nung naging part ka na ng OC Records family?
This is a funny story. One that I have not shared yet to many people, but I am not advising other people to do this. But let's just say, before mag-start yung pandemic, pag nag-enjoy ka Friday night, drinks with some office mates, uwi ka sa bahay, tapos kausap ko yung friend ko sa phone, and then we were joking about, have you ever had the audacity to, and then you're like, ako rin naman, alam mo naman, makapal mukha ako, ganyan. Tapos ginawa ko siya. So at like, I think 2 a.m., 3 a.m., I sent a demo to OC. Maybe because, when you're alcohol induced, parang may more courage. I'm not promoting drinking, guys. I'm just saying that, it gives you this sense of strength and whatnot. So I was able to send it to OC without thinking of what would happen after. And it's really surprising na parang, hey, maybe I do belong in this family. I never really see myself as a creature, kasi feeling ko naman tao ako. De, joke lang. But what I mean is, I've always seen myself as odd when I was a kid. Maybe even until now. Kasi nawirdohan yung mga tao sa akin. Pati office mates ko. Charot. Hindi ko alam. Maybe it's the energy. I don't know. But yun, basta parang ganon. So, I don't know how I fit in with OC Records, but I'm very, very grateful that they've accepted me and, welcomed me to this wonderful community. And I'm excited to grow more in my arts journey.
Future plans ka ba na mag-release ng ganong EP or album in the future?
We'll see, kasi parang ang dami pwedeng gawin eh. So, hindi ko pa alam. Magpapadala muna ako sa hangin, charot. Hey guys! My name is Sabrina and this song is for you. I hope that kung ano mang pinagdadaanan mo ngayon ay matutunan mong manatili kung nasaan ka dahil balang araw ay makakagalaw ka at makakabalik ka rin kung nasaan ka dapat.
Pabayaan na tanggalin ng panahon ang lahat ng sakit.